They haven't had as much of an impact as I thought they would. And I suppose the one that I've been mostly involved in has been the right to request for assets to be made assets of community value. But actually there haven't been an awful lot in Birmingham where people have asked to make them assets of community value. Community asset transfer isn't one of the rights, but is generally linked to those where local people can take over local authority assets and manage them for their community. The document is very big, it's very difficult to get through. Have many local community groups read it? I very much doubt it. Have many officers read it? I very much doubt it. But the ethos of things being for much more local involvement, engagement, ownership, management, etc., which are talked about in those rights, are very important. The only thing for Birmingham that the Localism Act was really written seemed to be written very much from a rural point of view rather than a big urban, complex city, network city like Birmingham. It doesn't quite match, but the thing about local people being more involved and having some control and right and say about where they live is really important, and that's transferable. In order for communities to change for the better, then public servants have to change for the better, as do local members. So I think they all work together. So my point of view is it is the right way of working anyway. Some of the imperative and driver has been economics, and there not being an awful lot of money around, so lots of things that have been run in the past by public bodies can't be run in that way any longer because of the recession and the lack of money, and therefore there is a look towards the communities to do more things for themselves. That's the wrong way of doing it. The right way of doing it for sustainability and for people to feel some sense of ownership and stake where they live, then it's the right thing to have done. Whether the actual quite tight parameters of neighbourhood planning as are written by government, that's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and it actually is quite a procedural way of working around land ownership. Probably what people are much more interested in is more of a community planning process where they're involved in a lot more things around knowing who else is doing something in an area, being informed of how things are done, knowing what all your assets are in your area, know which community groups are in your area. So you know where you can influence, or your points of influence, or people who can act on your behalf. That's probably what more people are interested in, and so they may not need to do the full neighbourhood planning process, but they are taking part in some sense of the bits that would have led to that without making it very full. Depends what sort of neighbourhood plan you're talking about. A lot of areas don't actually need a formal neighbourhood plan as is written within the Localism Act. Actually, what they really want is some element of community planning, which is a lot less difficult and onerous to actually do. Some areas will want a neighbourhood plan for some very specific reasons, but as outlined, but I would suspect that most people want some of those aspects, some of the building blocks that would be used. What would be great is if there are sort of hybrid organisations that are both local community organisations and the local authority or other public agencies working together. If you've worked locally, then you know that you have to achieve things, you have to work together. For me, it is quite simple. It is about talking, listening, doing together, respecting.